I have a source, an NCAA source, not with the NCAA, who sent a note to me this morning. I have no dog in the fight, but North Carolina's inclusion in this year's field is, by a large margin, the most inappropriate single decision in decades of the selection process. He goes on to say that, yes, North Carolina can compete in the tournament, but that has nothing to do with the committee. The committee has to look at what North Carolina has done, not what they can do. He goes on to say, Tuesday night's result doesn't demonstrate North Carolina should have been included in any way. Of course, they can compete, perhaps get on a roll. Goes on to say there's no logical base which North Carolina should be in this year's field. My source goes on to say, on the basis of the criteria and the process, North Carolina should not have been in the field, and the committee's confusing messages and failure to adhere to the plan and process that it crafts and agrees to follow will set scheduling in college basketball and how schools respond back several years. So that's a powerful statement here, that it's the most inappropriate single decision in decades of the selection process. So that's a source that I have with college athletics. But North Carolina may go on a roll. Jim Boeheim yesterday loves North Carolina. It's kind of a dark horse sleeper team. I get it. And it's not to say they don't have talent. And yes, losing 2 of your last 3 games to Duke, and they lost their other game was to Clemson, a team in the tournament. But if they got blown out by Duke by 21, I don't think they get in the tournament. They came back, and they had a chance to win. That's it. If they get blown out, there'd be no way you could put them in the tournament. Do I think that the head of the committee, who is the athletic director at North Carolina, was playing favorites here? Well, I'm sure he wants to get his school in, but just because he got a $100,000 bonus for North Carolina getting in, I don't think you risk your reputation, your job, to go, hey, I'd love to get $100,000. We'll get North Carolina in. I mean, you don't want to take away the credibility of the committee that you oversee. I don't think the committee stayed with what their process was. That's all. But I couldn't care less. If Carolina's in, great. If they're not in, I couldn't care less. Yes, Paul.
I have a theory about this with the college basketball playoffs, the NCAA Tournament committee that just happened with North Carolina. And going back to, remember last year, with Florida State getting hosed and the college football playoff committee. I think these committees think, you know what, if we do this, we're going to get ripped for a couple days. We're going to get lit up for a couple days and critiqued. But it provides content, even argument content. And no one in that room is getting rid of the head of the NCAA basketball committee or the college football committee because they're all in it together. You know, they're all getting paid. They're going on trips. They're all doing these things. And they say to themselves, we'll take the heat for a few days with putting UNC in as opposed to putting in a more deserving team that doesn't help anybody in this room and all our friends who got us here.
I would be shocked if that was their logic.
Oh,
I'd be shocked.
But they know going into that room that UNC was not worthy based off resume to make it, and they put him in anyway. And so I think their logic is, you know what? Batten down the hatches. We're doing this.
I don't know how many people are going, oh, I got to watch North Carolina. If this was the college football playoffs, I understand that, where you go, hey, we got Florida State or Notre Dame. And you will lean towards Notre Dame because it's Notre Dame. And they're going to give you a bigger rating. This is at the bottom. This is at the bottom of the barrel of teams getting in. I don't think you want to risk anything where you go, how do we get Carolina in? I don't know. We come up with some metrics here. We disavow any knowledge of these other metrics. I can't imagine. I would love to have a reporter who's in there to listen to this and help us understand what goes on. Yes, Marvin?
But isn't that a tradition every year that somebody's going to complain that they didn't get to the tournament? Because there's about 7, 8 other teams that have basically the same resume. You guys all got 13, 14 losses. So it's the same thing every year anyway.
Yeah, Indiana, Ohio State, they can have an argument here. Yeah, Seton.
Yeah, I mean, it's a TV show, right? And North Carolina is a brand. So you're going to put in your strongest brands. I don't think it's that.
I get that you might factor that in. It just can't be we have to somehow get. If it was Duke, that's different. There's only a couple of schools where you go, teams are, people are going to watch those teams play, either to watch them win or watch them lose. Carolina's not polarizing. Yes, Marvin.
Is North Carolina not on that list of teams? They're not up there with the UCLAs, the Kentuckys, the Dukes.
Well, they are. They have been.
They went to the
Indiana. Indiana was up there too. I mean, they become a football school. But
God.
Do you go out of your way to put North Carolina in?
out of your way. No,
Okay.
it's not like they went over a team that went 23-9.
No, I don't think anybody got jobbed here. I don't think North Carolina deserved to be in, but if you put them in, okay. If you put Indiana in, if you're not firing Indiana's head coach, does he get in? Now, do they get in because Mike Woodson got fired? I don't know. No, Ohio State, Boise State. There are other schools that can make an argument. But, I mean, Ohio State and Indiana aren't the blue blood that Carolina is. Indiana used to be. Ohio State's been sporadic there, but I would be shocked if the committee would be like, let's somehow get Carolina in.